mechanical. I can tell you how a car works. I can talk to you about the pistons and the head gaskets. I know all that stuff, and I can tell you globally how it works. But if I had to take it apart, number one, I probably couldn't. And number two, I could never get rid of my father, never. Even if I looked at a picture and I can't read directions and I can't read math, like I'm not good at those things. So is that healthy? Well, I don't know. It's how God made me, so I'll say yes. And then I have a husband who's a machinist, so I don't have to know those things. It compliments who I am. So, but it's good to know what you're not good at or what you might struggle bringing to the table. Like for me, the introvert, sometimes it's like when I go home tonight, I'm not going to interface with anybody. My husband went to the cabin to work, and I have a kid at home. He's 22, so he's not really a kid. I plan on going to Target and getting organized in things, and I'm gonna fiddle and organize and be alone. Yeah.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Fiddling is good. Fiddling is good. Okay, does anybody need to take a break? It has been like an hour. You're special that I remembered to even say that. No? Okay, I'll keep going. Is anybody else warm, or is it just me up here?
Are you warm for me?
I'm like, headache. But I get warm up here, and I have issues. Awful issues.
Been there.
Thank you.
It's not
I said to my husband, I said one time, you know, I went through the change and nobody could tell. He goes, that's what you think.
Yeah. Yeah, my kids know pretty much because I'll say, it's really hot in here, so it's just me. Because you can't always tell. Well, it's a different kind of. I say I get like I start sweating on the inside.
Yeah.
My son's like, don't we all start sweating on the inside?
That was a mom face right there.
Okay, so the next thing I really want to talk about is boundaries. I don't know what you think about boundaries, but to me, it makes the world go round. Because if I know what I'm responsible for and what I can do and what I can't do, I don't have to get too caught up in what you can and can't do. I can just kind of be there with you, and I know what I can help you with and what I'm really not going to be good at helping you with. Which I think is helpful for this kind of relationship that you'll have with your families. It's also good to have boundaries around the relationship. So what does this faith program, what is that relationship, how is that unit helpful to the world and even to that family that you're working with? So a boundary is a personal property line. And when I talk about it in my office, oftentimes people will be on the couch and I'll be on the chair and I'll say, pretend there's a fence between us. Like what are you responsible for over there? And then what am I responsible for here? And when we are not being respectful of boundaries, we're usually throwing our stuff on the other side, seeing if somebody will clean up the mess for us, right? And so your families, you hopefully won't be doing much of that, throwing your stuff over on their side, but they might throw their stuff on your side. There was a difference between how you talked about that lady who you helped. She could have been like demanding that you help her. I had a family in Ladue that they had twin girls, and I went in to meet with them. The first time, there were the mom, the adults, it was the girls, the mom, the dad, the weekday nanny, the weekend nanny, the housekeeper, the groundskeeper, and two other people there. I don't know about that kind of help, I don't have help. So it was there was at least 8 other adults, these 2 little girls, and then me. So the girls and I are on the floor, the parents stayed up on the furniture, and all these adults were on the furniture. It was kind of like a family picture drop over there. So I did the whole visit, just like I would normally do it, and at the end, I said, okay, I got back up on the chair so I could be with all the adults, right? And I said to the parents, okay, so I have a question. In the future, when we have these appointments, should I expect all of these, should I bring handouts for everyone? Right. But the whole time I'm on the floor, I'm thinking, oh God, please give me the words, because I could be really crass, so give me the words, give me the words, give me the words, give me the words. So do I need to bring handouts for everyone, or is this just going to be a mom thing, or mom and dad? Like, help me understand what you're expecting from these visits. And the dad said, do you feel intimidated? I said, I don't know that I feel intimidated, I just think this is unique. I think I was supposed to feel intimidated, which is why I said I wasn't intimidated. And he said, no, we just really wanted everyone to be here to hear what you have to say so that we can all be on the same page. I'm like, okay, so again, is everyone going to be here? Like, you're going to bring the weekend nanny here during the weekday? But Are we all gonna be here together, or do you want to just bring handouts that are in Spanish and in English so that everyone can hear, he said, I'd love you to bring handouts for everyone. So I did.
You know, I think it's kind of cool that they cared enough about those girls to have everyone that's associated in that household participating. Because if you're the gardener, when you're out in the yard with the girls and stuff,
And they're playing,
yeah,
right.
I was thinking, wow, they care enough about all those people and
They
those
did,
girls.
They did, yeah.
They consider them all their family. Wow, that's kind of cool.
But it was intimidating.
Yeah,
Sure.
Yeah, you had an
For a
audience
minute.
playing the little kids.
Right.
A big one.
And they didn't participate. So then I said, so moving forward, what?
So they just stay.
Mhm. But I said in the future then, so you're asking, you're telling me what you need, and so I'm gonna tell you that when, the next time I come, I need someone to come down with me so that we can really, so I can really show how to model this and we can work together as a team. I wanna be on a team, so that's what.
just send you a video.
Right. So, that was probably one of the most intimidating first appointments that I ever had. So, that was creating a boundary. Let's see.
I don't think you'll have to worry about that in our neighborhood.
yeah, really.
You might be surprised. They said
You know,
that grandma was there, aunts was there, uncles were there.
Mhm.
As I have visited that, I have to say, Dad, would you like to join? No, that's a woman's stuff. And, I almost feel like to say, excuse me. Bring the baby by herself.
But that was good that you did it, because that's your cultural awareness, not his. So you have to just start,
Yes.
that sets a boundary, right? So that's you,
Yes.
then, if he's there again, trying to get on his side to understand where he is and what he wants and what he would be comfortable, maybe he wasn't comfortable.
Yes.
You gonna say something?
No.
Well, I was just saying, I
I'm
think
sorry.
our biggest boundary is going to be, it's gonna be created because we're talking about faith more than anything. Because if there are other people listening to us talk, what conversations are gonna happen between the first visit and the next visit with all those that hear us? And also a boundary upon what our expertise is in our faith. And our only expertise is our own walk with God. And so being able to explain that boundary very openly to whatever family and how many families we interact with, and just talking about the different roles that people would play and being knowledgeable of that, to me that's going to be probably the biggest boundary issue to define. That's my thoughts.
That's very valid. And I also think, it's because I experience that in my practice, because I see priests as clients, I see sisters as clients, and then I see the rest of us as clients. And because I am Catholic and I'll go wherever you need to go, I see Mormon too, but some people really you're kind of using this as a spiritual guideline, but I'm very open to say, I'm not a theologian. I'll tell them what I know because I've learned, and if I don't know something, I'll say, well, I would say I can check in with my priest buddies to see, what the answer might be, or you can feel free to do that. So you don't have to be.
Therapist, not spiritual director.
Yeah. Right, I have one of those. I'll check in with him too.
Yeah, exactly.
So I don't know that, I guess, relieve yourself of that burden and that you don't have to have all the answers. And actually, I think it makes you look more approachable to not have the answer. Just, you know what, that's a good question, I don't know. Do you wanna check into that? And I'll check into that, we can talk about that next time. But here's the critical part. You better make a note of that, so that you do bring it up and you check into it. Otherwise, then you'll lose face value about everything, right? And if they are talking, this is how I see it, and you can correct me, because you're wiser than I am, I'm not sure. I just know it from like the grassroots. If the people that you're talking to, or start talking to the others about it, that's seed planting. Like, even if these people over here aren't in line with what you're talking to with that person, you're strengthening their resolve because they're having a conversation. To me, that's beautiful. I would hope that would happen, to be honest. So then you're doing awesome work.
That's great, I think it's what we're doing.
And we hope to connect them with each other and in a faith community. So if they have questions, that's a good thing. Nobody knows all the answers.
No, we don't. No, we don't. And if you, sometimes if you ask one priest, they give you an answer, another priest might give you another
Yes.
interpretation.
Yes.
So that becomes then the conversation. And I don't have a direct, I always say I have a direct connect to God, I don't have a direct connect to the Archbishop, so, you know.
Not identical, huh?
No, not in connection, no. Let's see. Sorry, I'm bouncing around, so I'm trying to make sure that I'm not missing something. Oh, so I guess this note, I said boundaries are helpful with relationships between us and the faith families. It's important to see the family as capable, loving, and wanting the best for their kids. Seeing them in a positive light allows you to connect and provide for the generations that might be in the household. So again, it's going in with, who are these people? Even if you don't know it initially, like who are the people that you're visiting? No, I'm asking, it's not rhetorical. Who are they?
So far, you want to.
No, not specifically, who are the people? Like when I see a new client, who is this person that's I'm gonna open the waiting room door to? Well, it's a person who wants to be here today. It's a person that's on their journey of looking at their life today. It's a person who's interested in meeting me today. It's a person who's wanting to open up to me today. And I keep saying today, because I don't know what tomorrow is, but today,
They are here.
yeah, I have this moment today to do work, whatever magic I need to work for them to be enticed to want to come back. So I have to be as authentic as I can, I have to be as open as I can, I have to be as willing to get to know whoever they are that day. So non-judgmental.
Well, I figure, first of all, they signed up, so this is
Perfect.
something they want.
Perfect.
And, they're probably in our parish, or at least Catholic. So I figure you walk in the door, you have at least one thing in common. And maybe they're not even Catholic, but they cared enough to sign up to find out about it. So, to me, those are the two most important things, and we can go from there.
I love how you just broke it down to two simple things. They want you there and they're wanting to hear your message.
Or they wouldn't have signed up.
Right.
That's right. So healthy boundaries on our end, I said I didn't think you'd have very many, but I changed my mind. I think what's important for us to do is, if we set an appointment with them at 10 o'clock, we need to be there at 9:55, 9:57, like we need to be there on time. Not every culture, every person values time the same way, that doesn't matter. If we commit to 10 o'clock, then we need to be there and ready to go at 10 o'clock. If they're not, that's not on us, that's their time. Like I have clients who come late, well, it's frustrating because they're still gonna want an hour, but I only have now 45 minutes, like I have what I have left. And they sometimes they're very apologetic, and I say, well, you know what, this is your time, you get to use it how you choose. If that means you use part of your time to drive here, well, okay. I mean, I don't say that part, I'm thinking that part.
But I've noticed sometimes, not with this, but like you said, they expected you to give that extra 30 minutes. They were late,
Right.
and, you try to explain to them, all of a sudden, they have an attitude, or try to be defended. Well, I didn't know where your office is, or you didn't tell me that, you don't want that conflict going back and forth. And he says, well, I try to say, we are here today, let's focus on what we can do right now.
Perfect, right, so you bring it back to the moment,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand you wanna be, I'm so excited that you wanna be here and spend this whole time with me.
Here we are. Started.
That's right. Let's just go.
But it's eliminate sarcasm.
No, but I try to be very truthful, like, so I'm excited you wanna be here, you're bummed that you couldn't be, so we have 30 minutes, let's just do it.
Right.
I could say it sarcastically, you're right. So you're gonna arrive on time, but you also need to leave on time. Like, I'm not always a watch wearer, but you need to wear a watch, because you may, like, there is no clock in here, and I'm always wondering if there's gonna be a clock. And I used to talk in churches a lot, and you know some churches have clocks at the other end?
Yeah.
Some don't. So you have to be, what?
Ours doesn't work.
Yours
Oh, it
doesn't work.
doesn't?
Well, that's worse, because you think it might, like, you
That's why
need,
it's always the same time when I.
yeah. This is taking forever. So, arrive on time and leave on time, because you have no idea what they have to do afterwards, maybe nothing, but maybe something, and you have something else, like just value time. Don't assume that they have anything religious in their home. Or, just because you don't see it, doesn't mean they don't have it. Like, if you came into my home, you would not see Bibles laying around, but they're all over the place, but I put them in drawers, because I like things tidy, and I have an English Mastiff who gets gel juice on everything. Like my papers, the ones that look like they have, this is gel juice from my dog helping me while I was going over my job. He puts it on my desk, I'm like, oh. We have tons everywhere. You're looking at me like, oh my God. It's really not any worse than small children, it's just a large child. Okay, so don't assume that that they don't have it, or why they don't have it. Don't assume that they don't have it if you don't see it, it still may be there. They might not even know why they should have things there, right? Then that's where you can teach them. Don't assume that they know anything. Like some of the acronyms that you guys have talked about in here, I've been able to figure out, but I haven't known all of them. So don't use an acronym unless you're willing to explain what it is, but you can use it in the future. Just don't assume anything, just talk to them educationally and simply. So don't talk down to them, because that's disrespectful, but, and ask. I do a lot of I wonder. Like, oh, I wonder if, I wonder, like, do you have a Bible? Have you ever had one? Do you know which one to get? Because that's confusing sometimes, there's so many out there. Do you know which one that Catholics, did you know there is a difference? I mean, that's a whole conversation right there. And so one of the things that I think is important with boundaries and respect is, this happened in our house, so I have 4 kids, Sean, Brittany, Nick, and Madeline. They are now almost 29, almost 27, almost 23, and just turned 19. They're totally different creatures. I'll talk mostly probably about the almost 23-year-old. When he was born, it was a rough time of my life. We were married 10 years, we were separated. He was about 4 months old when we separated. We're still married, so I'd say that. Same guy. But he changed, we changed, that's another story, we changed. Nicholas had sensory issues, and 23 years ago, that was pretty much almost unheard of. It was not knowledgeable. I was in early childhood, so I had a leg up over many parents. So it took me, at first I thought he was going to be on the spectrum, and then he's probably not on the spectrum. But he had lots of needs that other kids didn't need, and so he didn't sleep well at night. His tummy would be on my shoulder, and I would like hit it really hard, and that's the only way he could go to sleep, with me rocking and doing that. And I was separated, right, so I was doing all this solo. So I learned to have a great appreciation for Nick. Like, Nick really brought me to be able to be peaceful in a chaotic situation, so he gave me lots of gifts, or helped me to have my gifts come out. And so, fast forward, his older brother didn't get along with him, because Nick was a pain in the neck. He would throw lots of temper tantrums. I remember being in the car, in the van, he'd sit behind me, and he would kick the back of my seat when he didn't get his way or didn't want to be in the seat, or he'd worm his toes between the seat and the back, and he'd kick my rear end. There were many times I just pull over on the side of the road and wait for Nick to calm down, because I couldn't drive being kicked. For one thing, I wanted to like smack him, so I would just like pull over and let things calm down. Well, I had the wherewithal to do all that. My oldest son, who has really bad ADHD, did not have the patience for him. And so he would say ugly things about Nick. He's a pain in the neck, I can't stand him. Why did you have to act this way? So I came up with this mantra that everyone's different, and that's what makes them special. Like, Nick is different than you. He's not bad from you. He's not off from you. He's just different from you. You aren't better than he is. He's not better than you. Like, he's just different, right? So we had to find what Nick's gifts were, And interestingly enough, they're both athletes and they're both musicians. The way Sean, the ADHD guy, approaches everything is with passion. Like he would play football, he didn't necessarily always remember all the plays, he would just like use his body and just smash things. Nicholas is very smart and very tactical, and so he would know all the plays, we could see what the other team was doing, and when they would change in the line, he would tell the team, okay, they're doing this, you need to, he would tell the whole team what to do. And he didn't have to use his body and crash his body as much. Music the same way. Nicholas could hear the music and it was numbers in his head and he could play it. Drums or guitar, keyboard. Sean plays guitar, can't read a lick of music, he can read licks, whatever that is. And he plays just from his soul, right? But neither one of those ways are right. They're both pretty awesome since I can't play anything. And they just are who they are. Well, that helped me then when they became teenagers. You know what, every family is different, that's what makes them special. The Smiths can stay up till 10 on school nights, that works for them. Doesn't work for the Coffees, so good night. Good night. So with your families, every one of them are gonna be completely different and unique. Every mom is gonna, or parent or dad, whoever, is gonna show up completely different and unique. And that's what you love about them, right? That's the relationship that you get to create with them. And then you can share this little piece with them, because it really is helpful to know that everyone's different, and that's just how it's supposed to be. God doesn't make mistakes, right? One of my other phrases is, and I just read it in Matthew Kelly's book, they're stealing my things. That we're perfectly imperfect, I've always said that. Maybe I should have written the book before, but. So we're perfectly imperfect. That's just how we are. So that you were worried about when you go into a home, if they ask questions that you don't know, that's okay. You're perfectly not a theologian, right? You're doing what you are supposed to be doing. So I am going to tell a quasi version of a story that I told Sister a few weeks ago. There was a mom that I went to visit. I had seen her for a while, single mom in this apartment complex. So I was going in for another appointment. She answered the door and was very honoring. She was on the phone while she answered the door, and she was like challenging me about whether I was supposed to be there or not. And I said, well, my calendar shows, and I had a paper calendar at the time, my calendar shows, I put your name down. If this isn't a good time, I'm more than happy to reschedule. No, it'll be fine. Okay, well, but it's not fine if you really aren't ready for me to come or aren't interested. I'm perfectly happy rescheduling. So you could see, because energy meets energy, has anybody told you that? So she was, yuck. Well, I could have matched her yuck, because I can easily do that, which is part of the marriage problem. So, I decided not to do that, I kept it down, and so eventually, you look really foolish if you keep staying up here, so you eventually just start coming down, and so she kept coming down, because I kept coming down. Anyway, she let me in, she stayed on the phone, she sat in the chair, I went on the floor with the little boy, we interacted and played, and I'd say, so, go give mommy this thing. Because she's still on the phone, so I'm still trying to go put the book on her lap, and when she's ready, she'll read the book with you. And I'd look at her and I'd wink, And so it just, eventually she was able to come down onto the floor and we interacted, and she had me come back, and so I don't know what was up with her. She did have mental health issues, so I don't know if she was cycling, honestly. I don't know what was up, because we had a pretty good rapport prior to that, so she must have been off, but that doesn't have to, my boundary, it doesn't have to impact, I don't have to be off because you're off. I don't have to not love you because you're off, I can still be with you when you're off. So that's the kind of stuff that I think will help with boundaries. Do you agree with that, Elena? Going in homes and stuff, yeah. Okay, so that's how our boundaries will help. So how do you think that you'll be able to give respect? How will your families know that you're giving them respect?
How you speak to them, how you act with them,
Okay. It's like your tone of voice,
tone of voice, your body language,
eye
all
contact.
of that, yes. And one thing that I was saying in the training last time is, for example, when you enter a home, like I used to visit an Indian, I saw that they have their shoe by the door. That is a big thing for them, so be aware of all of that, and that's their way of showing the respect that they expect, I
for my example, it's perfect.
Mhm.
Yeah. Also, my family that was Indian that had, I took my shoes off at the door, they had all their son was on the spectrum. And he was firstborn son. So we can't hear that our son is on the spectrum because he's the one he's kind of the patriarch. So all the dining room chairs were always on, our kitchen chairs were always on the table, because he would climb. And he would like hang from things, like he was totally, right? So it took years for her to finally even be interested in looking at, because she had to convince her husband, and he wasn't there for the visits because he was working. And he didn't want to be there for the visits either, so even if I came in the evening, he wasn't interested. But respecting, because I'm thinking, oh, for the love of Pete, this kid needs to be in programming. But not according to them. So you have to love them anyway, right? That's what they believe is right for their family. Who am I to judge that it's not right? I was judging, to be honest, right? Because I had this internal struggle, but I couldn't let that show up. Pardon?
You actually knew more about the condition than they did.
But I was also coming at it with white, Western,
Sure.
which doesn't always match. Indian, Eastern cult, like that doesn't always match. I learned that really quickly when Webster University had me teach a multicultural class. White woman, suburbia. And I said that in class, so does anybody have a problem with this?
Right, let's just get it out there.
Right, that's one of the first things I said, and they said, yeah, we do have a problem with this. Okay, tell me more, So they didn't help me with the curriculum, but I said, I know somebody, an Afghanistan refugee, would you like me to bring her in? I brought in tons of people because I can teach, but I didn't have that experience. And then it watered me down, if I just kept thinking that I could handle whatever would happen in class, because I couldn't. So, yeah, who am I to think that I know better for this family? I did know better, if they were gonna stay in the States, and he was gonna be infused into their educational system, the public education system, for sure, that he would be behind if he didn't get services. So that's the kind of track that I went, and I would just give a little bit, and then give a little bit, and give a little bit.
And you were even there, I mean, that was your role. You were developmentally appropriate assessment.
So I took that as I was welcome on that level.
The only thing I could think to relate to what we're gonna be doing is like if we talk about our preschool programs, being very respectful of, financially, we don't know their financial situation.
Right.
I feel like I need to be very open about how to have that conversation, but I don't want to not have it. And then also, their attachment, maybe culturally they want to keep their children at home as long as they can.
Right.
So, I want to be able to talk about our preschool program because that's another goal of our program, but at the same time, being respectful of it, so.
And we don't want them to feel like it's our primary goal to rope them into our school. It really is
Right.
to connect them in their own faith with their children.
So what if you went in and if you know what the resources are for them? Because like this lady that I talked about, who was angry when I answered the door, I really wanted her son to go to Head Start. Because they fed him 2 meals, he was gone from the house 4.5 days a week. She got a break, and since she was cycling, there were times that he needed to not be there. And it helped her out financially because she didn't have to feed him those meals. And she got a break, and there was transportation provided, so that was an option in where I was working at that time. There was no way that she could have afforded, although we did talk about what was around, it wasn't Holy Trinity there, I don't know who was there, All Souls maybe. I just talked about all the options and gave her how I saw the pros and cons, and then I gave her paperwork that she could check into it, she didn't check into it, but he did go ahead and start. Yeah. So do you know what your options are for the kids in this area?
No, but I envision being able to, as you're at the visit and connecting with the parent, connecting with the kid, even just getting to talk to the parent, what are your challenges? And then, great, next time I come, let's talk about that, and it'll give me the time to go find out.
Perfect.
Or have you have an opportunity to check into your options in the community, you know. Would you like to see your son going or attend to school at, you know?
Nice.
Because sometimes they may not know, they feel like they only know this public school they can go to, but
Right.
there's other options.
Right, people tend to do what they did, or what was provided to them,
Mhm.
and I think that is the option.
Well, it's like some parents in preschool, they think that going to preschool, they're just going to play. And no,
It's
we
not,
have a
no.
curriculum, we have a step-by-step direction the whole day. And like I have told parents, even just for the social skills is very, very important. The child's gonna learn how to follow directions, how to stick with a routine. That is also very important at home.
Absolutely.
And they know what to expect, they know what's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, so even, and we try to encourage them to bring the children to church, you know, they're not going to church because of that. What some of our parishes offer, daycare, like rooms, playrooms for the children, or they have the liturgy of the word, something, you know, just to know what mass you would recommend them to go to if they're gonna do that, which is more parent-friendly, child-friendly, which might not be.
Absolutely. And God wants everybody in church anyway.
Always, especially the children, Jesus said, let the children come to me.
Right. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Somebody said otherwise.
So I mentioned about this communication thing, I think you have in your packet, it's communication inventory. It looks like, I'm gonna talk about it for a second before me, it looks like this, communication style inventory. It should be a packet of things, it's 2 pages of just asking or answering questions, picking between the two. Don't be labored either, just pick the one that most describes you. The answer sheet's on the bottom of the 2nd page, so as you go through this, you're going to, like, if you answered 1B, you're gonna circle 1B when you go to answer, when you go to score it. If you answered 2A, you'll circle under 2A, and then at the end of the, I don't know, I didn't create this, it's a very belaboring type thing. Or it's a very, I can't even word. Anyway, so then you'll total up the columns, and at the end, it'll kind of tell you what your type of communicator you are, and then I'll describe more about that. But really, communication is the crux of what you're doing, right? If you create this relationship with them, you're really doing that via communication. So does anybody need a pen? Do you